Welcome to Ugly But Cheap Gardening. Just kidding. Um, it is ugly and it is cheap, practically free. Staking up plants, tomatoes specifically. I have a bunch of different types of tomatoes. Some are short and stubby, bush type, and others are indeterminates, heritage, that will grow until the frost, the first frost of the year. So we're July of 2018, July 20 something, I forget the date. And I have pallets. Well, here, I'll just show you. Sorry, don't get dizzy. I brought some pallets home I got for free from work. You could probably search around your city and find some establishment, some industrial plant, something like that, that has pallets that they just go through and they put in the back for people to pick up. Others may keep it for themselves, so check with the business yourself and see if they give pallets away or ask around. In my case, I took a pallet and I basically using a cat's claw, I pried out the nails. That's the best way to do it. I don't recommend using a hammer. It took me several hours one day to do one pallet. Today I did a whole pallet in about an hour. I took my time, and using a hammer and a cat's claw, I was able to pry out the nails very easy. So much easier. I'll show you the claw in a second if you don't know what that is. But as you can see here, what I did was I took the flat part of the pallet, two of them. So I got one, drilled some holes, put in 2 screws, nuts are on the other side. These are 1.5 inches for the pallet that I have here. This might be 3/4 of an inch or 1/2 inch, something like that. But with the screw and the nut, they barely reach. So I would recommend 2-inch bolts with nuts. Make sure the packages, they're like $1.19 at Home Depot here in Massachusetts. Prices may vary in your location, but as you can see, I cut a point. So I just took my little saw and I cut from the middle up and from the middle up, and I pounded that into the ground. And then I already had the holes pre-drilled, put the screws through, and then I'd fit the top piece up. So you can see it's pretty awesome. It goes about 6 feet tall. I'm about 6 feet tall, so it's about my height. This one here I did yesterday. These are the support pieces, not the flat pieces of the pallet. These are the 3 in the middle, or 2 of the 3. And I did the same thing. I had longer nuts yesterday, but I really hack jobbed this together. It doesn't have to be pretty, because the bottom line is you can just put one in the ground when your plants get tall enough, have the holes already pre-drilled, and just be ready to add the next piece on. As you can see, in this case I used I think those are drywall screws with the little wing nut thing that goes in the wall and then clamps itself. But I just wanted to get something that would fit together, and these are real sturdy, so very little play to them, if at all. So I got 2 on each one, secured together with the 2 nuts, as you can see, so they don't swing around. I got this idea from a YouTube guy. His name's Gary Pilarchik. I really recommend him. He's a great gardener, that in my opinion, and he gave me this idea because he's growing hops, and he used, I want to say, 2x2s that he bought from Home Depot. He only needed a couple. I think he bought he actually might have just got one 8-foot or one 12-foot, and he did the same concept, but he did it to where he could undo one of the nuts, and swing the whole piece down, and he had a rope going from the bottom wood around to the top wood, so his hops vine would grow along the rope, and he could bend this down without breaking the plant. That was a genius idea, and I thought of that because I have a limited supply of money, limited supply of wood, although in this case I almost have an unlimited supply. So I took the idea and I got these 2 pallets, and instead of just using one and having a really short stake like you can see over here, a little short one that's holding the bush up, or using the stupid bamboo stuff that they have at Home Depot for $1 or something like that, or even more expensive than that, I think. I used this idea so I could take a pallet piece, and I'll back up a little, and you can see Now I have the tomato plants are approximately 4 to 5 feet tall in some cases. I use the cucumber plants, I use those racks, the 6-foot racks. They were about $7 a piece, so that cost me $21 last year, or the year before, I forget. I think it was last year. And those are now taller than I am. I already picked 5 cucumbers yesterday. There's 2 or 3 ready today. You can see one in there. But I really like this idea. I did them the skinny way, so when I'm looking at the garden from the deck or just from anywhere in the yard, it looks a little bit neater. And as the tomatoes grow up there, it will hide the hack jobbiness of it all. But there's different trellising options. As you can see, I took a lot of different ideas from different people. I have the rack for the cucumbers, which is perfect because they climb up. I have these, they don't have to be skinny. I just use that and jute or string or twine or something. I just use, it's called jute. I think that's just French for string, honestly. But it's biodegradable. That's my big thing. So that way I can just cut it, throw it in the woods, and it just degrades down, or throw it in the garden. I had my compost in this year finally, so that was successful. I did this by getting people at work who are trying to get rid of all the crap that's in their yard and their weekly mowings. I got a guy who does 3 barrels a week, and he brings it up, so I have that for the compost bin, and I've been adding that as it's ready. Every couple months I add a whole bunch more. I've only pulled maybe 12 or 20 weeds this entire year, where normally it's, you know, it's just covered thousands of weeds, as you can see here. That's usually what it looks like, and it's just a bitch to get to. So this compost has been super helpful. I am gonna dig this all in, the compost, and get it into the soil, because I mostly sand about a ½ inch down, maybe an inch down, inch or two. Somewhere in that range there is just sand. It sucks. So there's no nutrients. This compost is going to be helpful. I'm going to till this into the soil this year, but after that I'm going to try the no-dig garden approach. I'm curious on that and how that works, and it looks to be pretty amazing. In the I forget the guy's name, it's Charles Golding or Golding, something like that. If you search no dig and look for Charles something, he's from England. If I remember it, I'll put a link in the description. I think I'm subscribed to him. But he has some really good information. Even though he's in England, it's close as far as I think the same planting zone for me, but it doesn't really matter because the information is still there. He grows a few other things that I don't grow, so, or can't grow. But anyway, there's different trellising options. There's fencing, there's posts with, you can connect fence for, I used to do the circle and grow the cucumber in the middle. I really, really like this because it doesn't go all over the place like a pumpkin or a watermelon, and it just goes straight up, and it's out of the garden, and plus all the little things that the little feelers that connect to these to the fencing, they don't grab other plants and pull them in. This used to pull my corn in, these things here used to pull the corn in or the beans in, and they're isolated now going straight up. It's only July, and I still have August and probably September that this is going to grow, so it can't really get much taller. But I think I'm going to take some bamboo sticks or some wood and connect it somewhere in here, kind of in between, and have it go up a little bit higher so it has a little bit more to go, like that. But I don't want to make this a crazy long video, but I wanted to show a cheap way, if you have access to getting pallets. 1 or 2 pallets should be plenty. I planted 40. I think I'm down to like 32 or 36, somewhere in that range, in the mid 30s for tomato plants. And you need 1 per, but I actually went, I just said I don't want to make this a long video, but this is good information. I did 1 of these pallet, or 2 of the pallet flats, connected them together, and I did them in between 2 tomato plants. So you can see I have this started off tied to a bamboo, then I have it tied right here, I have it tied to the wood over here, I have it tied to the wood over here, so it just goes, you know, back and forth, up and down. And the bamboo I'm just going to leave right in there. It's securing it in different places. So it's pulling one way, and over here it's pulling the other way, and it keeps it nice and straight. I really was happy because this was all over the place. With this one here is almost perfectly straight, and it was like all gnarled over and back and forth, and it really looked like shit. But these are, that one there is a little gnarled over. You can see it's kind of coming up and then it over like that. So as we go along, we'll straighten them up. But I'm really happy with the way this turned out. Well, it's getting dark. I wanted to show my idea that I've, not my idea, but an idea that I kind of morphed out of a hops plant awesome idea from Gary Pilarczyk there. The Rusted Garden, that's what it's called. And just show what I'm doing here. My poor carrots, they didn't come up. Oh well, cucumbers and tomatoes are the best, and the compost is even better. See ya!